everyone, and welcome to another edition of Pretend Football Now. I'm Psych Manders. With me, as always, is Maul Padiros. Maul, we have come this far, to the brink. This truly is where some teams are going to meet their breaking point, and other teams are going to rise to glory.
Absolutely, and we have come to the final stretches, and into the playoffs we go. We have 4 teams that have made the bye, and the matchups are set. Sadly, 4 teams have nothing but next season to look out for. I, for one, am super excited for what we are about to witness in this NJC FFL final.
Most certainly, it's going to be an exciting week, so why don't you come along with us, and let's get into the action.
And Psych, this is an exciting time for fans. 4 teams have already locked up their bye. The division champions have been settled, and our regular season champion has been crowned. The Bill Bruno is surprising to everyone, has snuck into the #1 overall seed with an astonishing 18-6 record.
You gotta love those numbers.
That's absolutely fantastic. Now, the Beavers, who seemed unstoppable all season long, ended the season on a 4-game losing streak and ended up losing the #1 seed. They're the #2, followed by the #3 seed, the Sharpsville Gravy Legs, who by virtue of their loss earlier in the season to the Beavers, end up falling into the #3 seed. Now, the final bye was snatched up from the syrupy hands of the Flapjacks in the final weeks by the Stinky Pinkies with a 16-8 record.
Surprising, absolutely surprising.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people saw that coming. A lot of mishaps, maybe. The coach Crawford maybe making a couple of deals that didn't quite fit in with what his team was really going after. Now, of course, those 4 coaches have absolutely nothing to worry about this week. They get the opportunity to rest up, get their players a good week off, and let the bottom feeders battle it out to see exactly who they'll face in the next round.
Exactly as it should be in Pretend Football. We've got some great matchups on tap this week. First up, the 12 seed, the Catskill Cleavers, travel to Aunt Jemima Stadium to face off against the 5 seed, the unpronounceable Lip Smackin' Flapjacks.
It's true.
The Flapjacks have decimated the Cleavers in their only matchup this season, which dates back all the way to week 6.
Wow.
142-43.
Ooh, those Cleavers look bad.
Oh, absolutely. That was a tough loss.
That was a bad week.
The Cleavers, whose 9 wins, 1 fewer than Dog's Doomsday Destroyers, who are sitting right now at home, languishing, will be looking to start their run of redemption after backing into the playoffs on a bit of a skid.
Yeah, they looked a little dangerous at the end. It seemed as though they might even fall out of the playoffs, but they were able to in the very last week, pull it all together, get into the playoffs, and now everyone's 0-0. Now they have an opportunity.
Absolutely, and on social media, everyone can see #Jack Lives Matter.
That's right, Jack Lives do matter indeed.
Indeed, yeah, absolutely. So the Flapjacks are reeling right now. They have a 2-6 in the last 4 weeks, and they've lost their grip on Division A in the process. Maul, who do you got?
Well, I think I speak for everyone who has ever played in the NJC FFL when I say this, but I'm going for the Flapjacks. The Cleavers can't win.
#Jack Lives Matter.
#No Lives Matter.
There you have it.
And in matchup #2, the 11-seeded Brunswick Ballbreakers travel down to Georgia to face off against the #6 overall seed, the ravenous Georgia O'Keeffe Vagina Flowers. Now, the Ballbreakers, they climbed their way out of the basement in Division C over the last couple of weeks after Coach Bruno finally got all of her wedding shenanigans all settled up.
Important stuff.
Well, she had a good time, and as did most of us as well.
Psych Manders, not invited.
Coach Marion Lyon and the Flowers gave the Bill Brunos all they could handle throughout the season, but couldn't derail the suck-it train. Now, here's the big news.
Sure.
Don't let the 10-14 or the 13-11 records fool you. These teams are absolutely dangerous, piling up 1,984 and 1,922 points respectively.
Yeah, that certainly shows danger.
Yeah, they are very, very powerful. Now, these two lovely ladies recently met up in Week 11 with the Flowers powering out a 90-58 win, and now they'll battle it out again to see which woman reigns supreme and continues on in the NJC FFL playoffs. But I have a question for you. Who you got?
You know, I was surprised at the Vagina Flowers. They lost Kaepernick. He's still nowhere to be found. The last I saw, he was hitchhiking down the highway to the sad walking away music from the Incredible Hulk. Now, for them to claw their way back from that sort of massive loss, they're a gutsy team, and honestly, I have to go with the Vagina Flowers.
Well, I'm going the other way. I think the Ball Breakers have a bit more to go. There have been so many injuries on the Vagina Flower end that I think that Dina and the rest of her team, the Ball Breakers, are going to be able to handle it and move on into the next round of the playoffs.
Well, I guess we're going to see.
That's right.
Matchup number 3. This is the 10 versus 7. It's a battle of age-old frenemies. The 11 and 13 not very goods travel to Hangar 1 to face off against the 13 and 11 Lakehurst Dirigibles. You know, the goods lost in embarrassing fashion to the Dirigibles in Week 4, 44-105. That has got to motivate a little bit of revenge.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, nobody gets smoked like that in this league and never doesn't want to come back from it.
Sure.
Get up off the mat and fight there, Coach Swanson. You can do a lot better.
Sure, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. Now, Coach Dan, the Beast Swanson, has been haunted by some of his players this year, but it may seem that maybe, just maybe, the Funchies has turned a corner.
That would be surprising. I mean, he has been quiet, but making some strides, making some big strides.
He's a very sneaky guy.
He's all over. He loves to touch women inappropriately.
It's true. He's done several times at the PSBN offices. I've asked him to stop very nicely, and he wouldn't even speak to me.
Well, you just can't stop him.
No, you absolutely can't. But it would be just in time as Chief Gronk seems like he's going to miss some time due to that terrible injury that he took.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the Chief Gronk injury. This could be the crippling move that really ends up killing the not very goods.
I mean, that is heat bad news.
Heat
big bad news.
Heat big bad news.
So, the Dirigibles, however, have blamed some outside distractions from setting an optimal roster last week, which may have cost them a chance at a higher seed. Now, either way, they look to be a strong contender out of the wildcard week. They've amassed 2,188 total points.
Wow.
And that's the 4th highest of all teams this year.
That's pretty impressive.
Absolutely, it's impressive. So, Maul, I'm going to ask you, who do you got for this matchup?
Well, I just don't see any avenue for the not very goods to win this matchup. I think that the Lakehurst Dirigibles happen to have a more talent-laden roster, but it's not just about the roster. Frankly, as you alluded to, I think that there's just too many injuries for the not very goods to try to climb over.
As much as I would like to be contrary, and as much as I would like to be the devil's advocate here, I have to agree with you. The Dirigibles are a stronger team at this point. I just don't see how the Beast is going to pull out in this one.
Well, it has been heat bad news to lose Gronk, and I think he's going to have a heat bad week as well. And in our 4th matchup, perhaps the most heated rivalry in all of pretend sports, the 9-seeded Maplewood smoked Kevin Bacon's travel to OCP Stadium to face the number 8-seeded Detroit RoboCops. I can't wait for this one.
This is a bitter matchup. The Feel the Sizzle movement seems to have gotten restarted, but I have talked personally to Coach Flip, and he has told me that he is not intimidated.
Well, I mean, Coach Alex Garcia has spent much of the time during this recent press conferences to ensure both of the staff as well as the media that the Bacons will come prepared to play fearlessly in the face of the roiling riots that have been happening in Detroit after another round of automated artillery fire that sent 3 opposing team fans to the morgue, with 13 more to the hospital last week.
Well, let me tell you something. OCP, thank God, has stepped in to do something with that stadium. It is the league's most dangerous stadium. And honestly, if you guys are going to go watch that game, be aware of everything. You don't know what's going to happen if... Clarence Boddicker is a real big Detroit RoboCops fan, and he has a giant sniper rifle. He's just allowed to bring that to games.
Well, he's a wild man, and definitely a wild card. Feel the Sizzle, hashtag Feel the Sizzle, that is, has been reignited after they won their last 2 games and stamped out any hope of the Platypi of sneaking into the playoffs. Now, Coach Bub Flipper has his RoboCops playing outstanding football right now. They've won their last 4 games and having an arrow that is most definitely pointed up as the playoffs start. Now, there's no love lost between these division foes. I mean, they split hairs this year, both winning 2 games. And now face off one more time, but this time for all of the marbles. I only have one question for you. Who do you got?
Well, you know, as I am a very, very close personal friend of Coach Flip, I'm going to have to go with the RoboCops in this one. And I'll tell you why. The RoboCops are a deceptively powerful team. If Coach Flip can set the right players so he can minimize the bench blues, I think he runs away with this thing.
I wouldn't disagree. I think that the RoboCops have a more talented roster. I just don't trust Coach Flip's decision making, and I think that the Maplewood Smoke Kevin Bacons are going to steal this one from OCP. They may not leave with all their players, but they will leave with the win.
Indeed, we can only see.
Well, I've just got a note in my ear telling me that we have a coach in on a teleconference.
I'm sorry, I've got to go.
Oh, okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from OCP Stadium, I'm proud to announce that we have Coach Bub Flipper on the line. Hey, Coach, thanks for calling in. How are you doing today?
Well, first of all, Maul, I want to tell you that, my good personal friends, they call me Coach Flip, and I'd like to extend that favor to you there. So please, call me Coach Flip.
Well, yes, thanks for that, Coach Flip. Your RoboCops they're on a bit of a tear right now. What do you attribute to your recent turn of success?
Well, there's an old adage that goes around a Flipper family house, and that's you set your roster and you hope for the best. I don't really subscribe to that sort of detail. I'm an extreme coach. I like to do things. I like to not feed my players unless they win. The last couple of weeks have showed that a little bit of tough love goes a long way to the Detroit RoboCops.
Wow, well, this week has got to be huge for you. I mean, this is your first season in the NJC FFL. It's your first playoff berth at home, and it's against your bitter foe, Honest Garcia, and the Maplewood Smoke Kevin Bacons.
Yeah, okay.
So what do you have to say to your opponent this week?
Well, look, is that the camera right there? Coach Garcia, we met before in the past. You talk a lot about sizzling, and let me tell you, like I always say, the best opponent is one that's a little bite around the edges. You're looking like you're slipping a little bit, Maplewood Smoke Kevin Bacons. And this week, we're going to make sure we cook you real well done. So done, nobody's going to touch you, and you're going to be in the garbage can.
Well, indeed, many around the league are pulling for you. Any surprises to your roster this week? I mean, after all, you have collected your additional free agent cap space, of which you've managed to spend none this entire season.
Let me clear this up real fast for you. I believe in my players. I believed in the trade that we made with the Stinky Pinkies. And you know what? Ever since that point, we've been a winning football team. Go check the numbers. You can check it yourself. I don't need new players. I'm going to take that extra money, and we're going to reinvest it in the stadium.
Well, the fans in Detroit are likely very concerned with your coaching style and owner Mike Sanders' willingness or unwillingness to pay for a quality product on the OCP Stadium field instead of things like an automated stop and frisk battalion.
Well, let me tell you something. We're a Detroit team. We play in Detroit. Detroit's a dangerous place. You know, you gotta make the fans safe. Even if that means that we pay a lot of money for automated robots on the 50mm armor-piercing rounds. It's just what we have to do. I mean, if someone was shot every game at our stadium, which does tend to happen, some weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in a row, nobody would come to see us. It's about security. And that's where all the extra money is going.
Well, thank you for joining us, Coach Flip. You have yourself a great night.
Sure, by the way, I noticed that up in the PSBN booth, you guys got all nice kind of snacks up there. I'd really like to come up and, you don't even let me eat on the sidelines. I like to have, a piece of pizza. I like to have a couple of... You know what? I'll ask Psych Manders. He's a nicer guy than you, Madeira. Maul Paderos, you're just not a nice guy.
Well, thank you, Coach.
All right. Be good, huh?
Well, Maul, what an amazing week. Well, Maul, what an amazing week this truly has been. The 4-bye teams, like lofty Roman patricians, will be fed grapes by nubile virgins as they watch the lowly battle it out to death in the arena before them. Do you have a word that sums up this crazy happenstance?
Carnage.
Carnage. Visceral. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, from all of us here at PSBN, we hope you've enjoyed watching Pretend Football Now.
Your brother's a jerk.
Yeah.
I'm coming this week. I'm gonna come here to the house and we're all gonna hang out and do the video.
I wasn't even
thing.
sad when you were missing Craig Gooder. I wasn't even sad.
No, we did the whole thing about, you not being here and the Gooder Jews. We weren't sad.
No.
We acted sad.
We acted sad, but we were actually 100% not sad.
In fact, we were probably happy.